In today's video, let's take a look at how to put together this really cute pillow. And this pillow is constructed basically of 3 parts. So we have the quilt block, which I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we put on our strips that we call our sashing. So that's 4 strips, top and bottom on each side. And then your last piece is your backing fabric. And I decided to do this project in 2 colors. So I picked what I wanted for the heart design and then the background. And I just went ahead and did my sashing strips the same as the background. And then the back of the pillow I did the same as the heart, and I think it looks fantastic. Head to your stash, well, after the video. Watch the rest of the video. And then head to your stash and pick out your fabrics. This is a fun one. Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I'm Patty. I go by Pattymac Makes everywhere online, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make a really cute little quilt block. We're going to make this really cute little heart block, and as you can see, I've already put my sashing around it. I have quilted it. It's quilted stitch in the ditch, and I'm going to show you how to make this, and if you stick around you'll see how to put it into a cute little pillow project. So let's get started. Before we jump in, let me just say you will get the complete instructions, including a little printable pattern that you can use to make your own block at home, as well as the cutting instructions. All of that, it will be in a blog post I've done, which is linked below. Here I've laid out the quilt block that we're working on today, which is the heart shape. And what I want you to notice is that it's 16 blocks. So it's 4 across and it's 4 down. And this block is comprised of 2 shapes. So we have the solid squares and the half square triangles. Okay? And the way that I have selected what I'm using for today's project is I decided to go with the red, and then I wanted something that would really set off the red. And I thought that this little print, which is predominantly a white background, really set off well with the red. And with the little fire hydrant, it's got a red color in it, and so that really plays well together. So when you're putting your blocks together, think about a couple of things. Think about, do the colors work well together, but also think in terms of light and dark. And this red is obviously a lot darker or has a lower value than this one, which is predominantly white and it's brighter, so it has what we would call a high value. So it's just lighter and brighter than this one, which is a predominantly dark tone. So if you match lights and darks, you get a nice contrast. And when you have the higher contrast, your shapes will show up a lot better. So I've laid everything out. And always lay your blocks out. And if you get a little confused, I will say that take a picture of it with your phone. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just take a quick photo, look at the photo, and make sure that you have all of your shapes going the right way, because it can be very easy to get turned around when you start rotating the shapes. So let's talk about the block construction. And the way that I'm going to approach this is I will construct row by row. And then what I will do is put these 2 rows together. I will put these 2 rows together, and then I will attach the top and the bottom. Something else I will share with you as you're constructing everything, you want to be mindful of your grain line and where that falls. And that can be kind of tricky to figure out on a non-directional print like this polka dot. So what we're going to do, let me just kind of move these out of the way. What you're going to do is you're going to take an edge and you're just going to give it a little bit of a tug and see where you have the stretch. And in this one, the stretch is here. So I'm going to turn this one, which doesn't have stretch. That's my straight of grain. And we want that to be going up and down or north and south. And then we'll check here. And that will go that way. and you'll feel it. It's just a little bit of a stretch. There's no stretch there, so we want that going that way. You'll have less, like sometimes when you're putting your quilt blocks together, you'll find you've got like this kind of a wavy texture. That can be where you're not getting your grain lines matched up. And I do have a video on grain lines, so you might want to take a look at that. Okay. So it does matter. Now, of course, when you're doing your HST blocks, because the shape is what matters. So we're going to have to just sew those together. But when I put my HSTs together, I also check grain line before I sew them. I'm at my machine and I'm going to chain piece all of the blocks initially. And what I've done is I clipped them together. I like the little wonder clips, and I know that I'm going to want to sew on the side with the clip. So that is just like a visual cue to me. And I've got my machine set up, my little tab piece is there, I've already sewn to the end. I have my machine needle in the down position, and I'm just going to start chain piecing across and just make sure everything is nice and squared up. And here we go. First part of the piecing is done, and as you can see, I've done 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, so on all the way down. And now what I'll do is construct the middle seams, or the center seam, just like that, all the way down. I want you to notice that there is this almost like a gap of material. That's what you want when you're putting your HST together, because this and this are your seam allowance, and when you have that space, that means you will get your points and everything will line up as it's supposed to. And you can see up here I've got extra fabric, and that's exactly what you want, because then you will have points on the top of your heart when we put the sashing on all the way around. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this next little bit stitched together, and then these together and these together, and when all of that is completed, I'll come back and meet you here. I've got my top and bottom stitched together, and now I'm just going to join the two. And my method for putting these blocks together is to start in the center seam, and so when I turn right sides together, I'm going to pin here first, and then I'm going to do whatever it is I need to do to kind of ease in the other seams. And it looks like I'm going to be off just a little bit over here, and you know what? That's okay. I'm fine about that. I think sometimes we get so attached to perfection, we forget to enjoy ourselves. So embrace the imperfections. I'm going to show you the back. So I press my seams open. And I do that because when I'm working with half square triangles, I use these little points as reference so that I know where to put my seams to retain the points. And if you want more information on that, I will link you over to a video and a blog post I've got where I talk about getting the points and how to work with the 8 square triangles. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and finish up the block, but so far, so good. And that is our finished block, and you've got all 4 of your intersections meeting up, and you know, if things are not utterly perfect, don't lose your mind over it. This is supposed to be fun. So, like I'm off a little bit here, that's okay. I still like it. I'm gonna just go on and finish this into a pillow, which I'll show you next. But we turn it over, and I want you to see that all of my seams are pressed open. That's just how I do a block like this. I think it gets it to lay a whole lot flatter. I've also spray starched it, so it's got a lot of texture to it, and that is just how I personally like to manage my blocks. So this block finishes out at 8 1/4 square, and if you are happy with that, you can then make any number of these that you want to make and do whatever project you want to make. But we're going to finish up today with a pillow. And I have cut fabric strips to go from my top and bottom. And I generally cut my, what we call our sash, a little bit wider. And I do that because I would rather have it be a little bit long, and then I can just trim it down. So I'm going to first sew my top and bottom, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to put on the sides. And I decided to just keep this pillow in 2 colors, so I went ahead and went with the dog print for both the background and the sash, and then the back side of the pillow will be in the red. So I'm going to put on the sash pieces, and then what I will do is affix the fusible quilt batting, and then I'm going to go through and just quilt my top layer. And then I will put interfacing on to the back piece, and then the pillow's ready to go together. So, all right, let's go ahead and put the sashing pieces on. And I mean, you can see they're all a little bit long. You know, I don't mind losing a couple of inches of fabric here and there. That doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, you can go ahead and just cut everything right on the money, but it doesn't bother me. I don't mind having a little bit extra that I can cut back. I'd rather have a little more. It's like hair, you know, you can't cut it longer. So anyway, that's how I do it. All right, let me put this on. I'll show you that. We'll get the quilt batting on, and then we're going to quilt and move along. I have applied the fusible quilt batting to the quilt block, and I've gone ahead and done stitch in the ditch, and I used like a lighter color so you can really see the stitching, and I think that's kind of fun. It kind of adds to that whole whimsical feel of this particular block, especially when you consider it's got little doggies and polka dots and all of that. I'll show you what it looks like on the back. So you can see what I've done is I've gone around the outside. I always start on the outside, and then on this particular one I then start in the center, I go down, and then I just kind of go around, and I make sure that I stitch around every little block, every little square, and when that's all done, then I have done the quilting that I'm going to do. You could certainly do more, you know, really that's kind of the fun of the quilting itself, is you can have a lot of creative freedom with that. I tend to just do stitch in the ditch because that's where I'm comfortable. So what I'm going to do now is trim this up, and then we're going to put interfacing on the back. I'm going to use the red polka dot that matches this fabric here for my backing. I just thought that would be really pretty. I thought if I used the dogs, it would kind of, I don't know, it would just kind of all run together. So I'm just going to put the red on the back and sew this together, and we'll turn it out and stuff it and sew it closed, and there we'll have our pillow. Isn't that a cute project? I absolutely love making pillows. So a lot of people like to make really giant projects. I like to make small projects because then I feel like I can actually finish them. I'm really challenged for my time. I know a lot of you can relate to that. And I'm having a little trouble getting through the winter. Winter is not my favorite time of year. I don't mind it being cooler, but when it's dark and it's overcast all the time, I have a really difficult time with that. So for me, the accomplishment of being able to actually get something finished helps me a lot. So that's why, well, that's another reason why I like a small project. I can actually get it finished. The fun thing with these little pillows is that you can really customize it. So if you want to add tassels to your corners, if you want to add pom-poms, there's all kinds of things that you can do. And I'm going to invite you, if you haven't already, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you're on my email list, all of those things, so that you don't miss the updates that I have coming, because I have a really, really cute series coming all about making pillows and having some fun with fat quarters. Okay, I'm all done. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will make this project. It's adorable and you have plenty of time. You got the whole week. And because it's a small project, I know you can finish it. Okay, so make pillows for all the people in your life that you love. And that's all I got, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.